Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How are you doing? It's Big P here. You know, don't you? You know the voice of hardcore boxing. We say the things that nobody else dare say. Today I'm joined by Terry, the most popular contributor on the channel. How are you doing, Terry?
Mate, you're Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm all good, mate. I'm all good.
Good man. There's a lot going on. We think the big story is Big Meech to DAZN. What do you make of it, Terry?
So how do you explain deals like this? Like in non-boxing talk, this is what you call like a founder's deal, right? Where you give someone the money and you're like, mate, here's some money, but we're going to make it back on everything you do now. So, you know, it's not like he's going to get the DAZN money plus the Saudi money. DAZN will be like, no, we got to make some money back on this, if you see what I mean. And then if you look at the nature of the contract, I think it's quite smart what DAZN have done, because if you, let's say you give Joshua 150 million up front, right? Which might happen. If you have him as a strategic advisor, which I think really the real message of that was that he'll be a boxer and a strategic advisor for DAZN, that's a 10-year relationship. So that means that you can depreciate the 150 million over 10 years, which means, to be honest, this year Joshua would have cost DAZN 15 million. Then next year, 15 million. And the year after that, 15 million. So I think it's smart on DAZN's part, because they don't have to put the money up front, which is good. It's smart from Joshua's part, because you're now talking about Joshua as something more than a boxer, which is what he always wanted. So on a human level, congratulations to him. No one would have turned that deal down. And it shows how desperate DAZN were to get him, because I don't think Sky could have offered him that kind of offer.
Yeah. In the interview, it did say, though, that he's been given shares, didn't it? Do you feel that's like a bit of a... It's like a performance-related type of thing, because he's really going to have to go out and perform now to sell the fights, isn't he?
Well, so the shares, like in any sort of share deal, Porky, it'll be down to what he brings. So let's say Joshua... Okay, look, 100. We have to work with imaginary numbers now, because I think, you know, we don't know the real numbers. But let's just say they're into Joshua for 150 million, Porky, right? That's what, 6 million pay-per-views?
Yeah, it is, yeah. All
right. So that means for the next 6 fights, Joshua would have to do 1 million pay-per-views. 2 fights a year over 3 years. Do you think Joshua does 1 million pay-per-views on DAZN?
I think he's on the slide now, mate. Honestly, I don't think he's lost that bit of star power. When he's in a fight and it looks like he's in a fight, he always seems to act a bit odd around these guys. But when he's fighting guys, he knows he can beat easily. He seems to turn into Big Meech, doesn't he? Kind of thing.
Big Meech, the Watford gangster.
Big Meech, the Watford gangster, yeah. But when he's in with people like, Usyk, there's not the same energy, is there?
Mate, because they can smell the bitch on it.
Yeah. Did you see Usyk smell it yesterday? That stare down.
Yeah.
You must have thought it was Usyk's first rodeo. I couldn't believe it.
But the thing is, I don't understand what you're doing. You already lost the fight to him relatively easily, considering how small Usyk is. Like you can't rewrite history now. Tell us you're the tough guy, man. We saw you fold against Usyk. We saw you fold against Ruiz, and you were so scared to engage Ruiz in that rematch. You ran around the edge of the ring.
Yeah. Yeah, it was embarrassing, wasn't it? I think Rico said that Angel Hernandez is like a joint trainer, Robert Garcia's, but I get the impression that Garcia's calling the shots. What do you think, Rico?
It doesn't matter.
What do you think, Terry? Sorry, not me. What do you think, Terry?
It doesn't matter. Garcia seems to be good with little guys, right? Yeah. There's no evidence of Garcia being good with big guys. I know he trained Ruiz for a bit, but no evidence of that. And maybe he's on the slide as well, because a lot of his guys are getting smoked. Even Mikey Garcia was getting smoked by, who's the Spanish kid he lost to? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like he brought in a superstar trainer. Someone was like, and I never thought I'd say this, Porky, why not just swallow your pride and go back to McCracken?
Can't because They pushed boat out now, aren't they? Maybe Ern might have some influence on that. Maybe they don't want to go back.
I would, at this point now, I'd have gone to McCracken or Tony Sims and I would have just said, mate, get me back to that guy that I was in the beginning.
And swallow your pride.
Yeah, just the old school training, runs, you know, good sparring, good conditioning work. Just get back to basics.
Don't you just have to make the best of what you've got, Terry?
I'm one of these people, like if I was in Joshua's corner, I'd just be like, mate, you've got 6 rounds to win it. That's all. You got 6 rounds to win it.
Do you know when I think about fighters, you know, I look at some fights and I think, well, look at the skill set on that guy. And then I look at, and it's better than that guy, but that guy's got more will, more aggression, and more in his heart than that guy. You know, and that's how I look at it. And we've seen fights like that over years, haven't we? Where sometimes the will's greater than the skill, haven't we?
I think the problem here is Usyk seems to have both.
He's got, this is it, you see, he's got the skills and he's got the devil in him, and he as well, and he can turn it on and off, can't he? I mean, to be honest with you, mate, I'm not being funny, but after round 6, it looked like it was a sparring session against Joshua, mate. You know, like the Vladimir one, when he set about Vladimir. Do you remember before Olympics when he got gold? Yeah. Were that in the David A camp for Vladimir? I think it was, wasn't it, in Austria?
Well, who Joshua?
No, when Vladimir were fighting David A, Usyk went out there, didn't he? He set about him, didn't he? In front of Johnny Nelson and Glenn McCrory. He set about Usyk, and they were like, who's this guy here? And when he got his headgear off, people saying, oh, it's Usyk. He set about, Vladimir touched him up. And I was, yeah, you're probably right. He's got all boxers are ticked by him. Even his fitness is good, isn't it? I mean, you know, he's not got a Joshua physique, has he? But he's like super fit, isn't it? Did you see the punches he's throwing in 12?
Yeah, exactly. He looks like that guy. Like, if you've ever been to a beef, he looks like one of the guys that does the security for the beach clubs. Yeah. You know, like you get those really hard Lithuanian ex-special forces guys, or some ex-Bosnian war criminal who's just hiding out in the beef. One of those guys who there's just a look about them where you're like, that's not the guy I want to trouble today.
Yeah, like a Rico Vero even.
I don't know about that. Maybe on a higher level, Pork.
Listen, he's an hard man in that Rico. I've seen him train at Peters, man. Have you seen him? World champion, isn't he? Kickboxing.
But everyone's a world champion in kickboxing.
Yeah, I know, because there's that many organisations, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay. MTK, the silence. What's the answer to it? Oh, nobody's coming out and saying anything, are they? What do you think? I mean, we know of about 15 people that can't go to America, don't we? Right. But why aren't the other 585 just coming out and saying, oh, me too? Right.
Everyone's hoping it goes away.
Yeah. I mean, Josh Taylor's now saying he wants to fight Castro. Is he on the banned list? Because Ben Davidson is.
Well, a lot of these MTK guys are having to reassess their career priorities, right? So there'll be no big fights in America because none of those MTK guys or ex-MTK guys are calling out American opponents, apart from Michael McKinson.
Yeah.
So I think Michael McKinson's all good. And he said, look, I'll fight Virgil Ortiz Jr. Fair enough. Yeah. That's for Josh Taylor fighting Jack Catterall coming down to 140. Okay, what other options does he have? Like Conor Benn at 147, but they would never, the Team Benn would never accept that.
Would you like to see Conor Benn against Lewis Ritson at 147?
No. I don't want to see Lewis Ritson again.
Why?
I think he's terrible.
No, you rate him. I rate him, mate.
No, I don't. I just, he's the problem with boxing at the moment. He got the ladder to a certain level, found that he was out of his depth, or got vertigo, we'll call it. And all he's done ever since is just try and nick paydays here and there. And I don't agree with that because he's just clogging the way up for another guy to come through.
What do you think of the Callum Sauerland's offer to Phil Jeffries to fight Josh Kelly at 147? And Phil Jeffers has obviously said we'll do 145. They said, but Callum's saying 147. So Phil wants the pot sweetening. So
okay, so let me ask you a question, Russ.
Yeah.
What does that fight do for either guy?
Well, it's a northeast to kind of derby-like kind of thing. It's good for area, isn't it? If you know what I mean, kind of thing. And it can generate some money and interesting boxing and get lads on undercard, can't it?
Josh could fight Troy Williamson, do the same thing. RITSON could fight O'Hara Davis, and that would do the same thing. Why doesn't RITSON South fight O'Hara Davis?
I see where you're coming from on that, but RITSON.
So that's two paydays for the Northeast, right?
Yeah, but RITSON, you could get Kelly last, couldn't he? But RITSON beat Kelly, didn't he, in ABAs? Or with amateurs, beat him in amateurs, didn't he? RITSON's got a win over Kelly. So it's unfinished business, isn't it?
Well, they haven't done anything. Well, so let's break this down. RITSON's British level, right?
I'd say European level, mate.
Did he win the European?
No, he didn't, but I'd say he's European level, British European level.
Well, so what we know for certain is he's British level.
Yeah, we know.
Josh hasn't even won a British, has he?
Joshua hasn't won a British.
Josh Kelly hasn't won a British.
No, he hasn't won a British. No. No.
So by definition, that's a nothing fight. That's an undercard fight. You'd put that on Frank show July 2nd. You'd whack that on there as an undercard. Like let these two let him get some money for the summer holidays and that.
Well, I think it's an arena fight. Me in Sunderland. So does Jaffa. They think it's a stadium alike fight.
Deluded. The Northeast isn't even a boxing hotbed.
So you
like Savannah Marshall's the biggest star in the Northeast, right?
You could say that, yeah. Savannah, RITSON does tickets, doesn't he, though?
Yeah, but Savannah is the
world champion up there,
yeah. And she's fighting Clarissa Shields in London.
Yeah.
So where's this hotbed of boxing in the Northeast that people are buying tickets for?
Adam Smith calls it a hotbed of boxing in the Northeast, doesn't
he? Yeah, I think we've seen the level both guys operate at. Josh Kelly will never be world level. Lewis RITSON will struggle to be European level. I think if you didn't know Phil Jeffries like you do, if this was two guys from Bristol, you'd be like, what's going on here?
No, because I've met Louis Anna. You know, when you meet somebody, you look at it differently, don't you, when you want to see him fight somebody. But I wanted to see Kelly fight Ben Mee a couple of years ago. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. So most fans don't care about RITSON versus Kelly. You wouldn't stay in.
They care for Ben A. Venetian, don't they? Or Kelly Ben, don't they? I see where you're coming. And Lewis is coming up a weight in it just to try and get into the mix. Yeah. But maybe even Callum Howland seeing Lewis RITSON as a big ticket seller and thought, well, we'll get RITSON up and we'll do a big fight. Well, then maybe it's Callum's thinking, because he's like morphing into Eddie, I've noticed lately. Have you seen some one-liners as he come out? He's using Eddie's one-liners. But,
these are dark times for boxing, aren't they, Russ?
Yeah,
dark
mixing and matching, aren't they? I don't know, mate. Max said something to me last night. He's on about calling out Perry Howe, you know, Dennis's fighter.
Yeah.
And Perry'd have to obviously put a bit of weight on if he's going to fight Max. But Max is calling out guys on his level, isn't he? See where I'm coming from?
Yeah, exactly. I know people like to see Max as a bit of a joke and this and it, but he's a smart lad. He's not an idiot.
He's a powerful kid back, you know. He gets a grip of you know, when he used to be in Torment, he told me a true story. Hey, listen, I've seen him, mate. He's a powerful lad. If anybody wants to come and have a rumble with Max, and if they beat Max, they'll know they've had a rumble, Terry. Do you know what I mean? Just because he's, you know, we have a bit of banter with Max, but he's actually a good mate. And some of the stuff he comes out with is so different to me because I'm like nearly 20 years older than him. And I just like, you know what I'm like, don't you, Terry, with one-liners? And Max, just...
Don't talk over me when I'm doing my Adam fucking Boo.
Oh, impression, Max. But he is a good lad and he's big-hearted and loyal, but he's calling out people on his level. He knows what lane he's in, and that's what Julian wants to do with him. Look, they've gone out there to Prague, and he's got his win and he's stuck to the game plan. Julian said, go out there and just jab. I just want to see you jab. And then second round, we'll do what we've done. So he's listening now. Whereas when you can't just hook your bag up, can you? Your Puma bag and your high-tech trainers and start going to other countries on your own and they're going to get you a trainer and a cut man. You can't, it don't work like that, does it? He's been naive, Max, hasn't he? So try
need protection at all times.
Yeah, well, he's picked everybody's brains, hasn't he? And I said, well, go with Julian, we'll do this for that. Try and just guide him a little bit. Not that I know everything, but I'd like to think that he can be going into fights where he's going to be safe because we don't want him to get tonked, do we? And that's why Julian, the 5 hours they're playing with delayed, and Julian's got a really good job. He's got better things to do, but we want to help the lad, don't we? If he can do something from here, that's good, isn't it? And Max is a good lad. I'll give him some stick in that because I thought if we take him over to Nick Manners, right, we'll get Max saying, I want some sparring. I thought, right, I'll get you some sparring. Because I know that Nick won't mess about over there. It's not a youth club in there. He's gone over there, and obviously we've seen what we've seen, haven't we? And he put hands on Max, didn't he, that lad? But Max will come back from that because he'll know to keep his hands up and this and that and blah, blah, blah. He'll learn from it because when you keep getting clipped there, you keep that hand up, won't you? But
everyone learnt by getting the crap beaten out of them, Russ. Everyone.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I don't think you were happy that I put it out. Obviously, I went and took it out, you know, to the footage where he was setting about him. But you'll remember that, Max. And it's like I spoke to Julian yesterday. He did everything to T, and that's what he needed. And I think I'm not saying he's going to win a belt, but he might surprise a group. He might get a win against somebody who they say he shouldn't be in with. You know, that might be his level, or it might be his achievement. But he's doing something he wants to do, and so we have to give him credit, don't we? And I've tried to say, Max, you shouldn't be doing this, mate. You're going to get hurt. You know, you could end up, you know, when they put somebody like Max's level going in with somebody like Joe Joyce. Not Joe Joyce, Fraser, Clark. You know, you're going to get hurt, isn't he?
For me, the key thing for him is just to get fit for a start, like get super fit.
Give yourself an opportunity. Give yourself a chance. Well, first of all, you can speak to any of them, Clinton, anyway. Look, if you're not fit, you shouldn't be getting in the ring because you're messing with your life. And if you're not fit and you've got big balls and a big heart, it's even worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least if you're not fit and there's a bit of coward in you, you can get a towel thrown and put your head down and get pulled out, can't you? But I just hope he's going to knuckle down now because now he's had a couple of wins. And what can we say? Max has put in the heavyweight division on notice, Terry.
He could probably go to America and have a good run.
He could. He could fight Lovejoy.
I'd murder Lovejoy.
What about Lucas Brown? Max and Big Lucas, Big Daddy.
50-50.
Is that a crossroads fight, Lucas Brown and Max?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Hey, listen. You never know what Max is capable of. He's quite a determined character. Hey, listen, I give him that animal T-shirt. Then it only was a bit of fun. I set him up with it. I see Max got a T-shirt where he went nice, so we got in car and I went, Max is here in his animal T-shirt. Yeah, it's not on, but Max knows it's only a bit of banter. I mean, if there weren't me around these people, the license would be boring, wouldn't Terry? Max says, oh, God, you set me up my animal T-shirt. The Max is in ring sparring that Sam Torrance, and he's put hands on him. He's got out at ring, got animal T-shirt, and wrung it out, you know, like Robin Reed does.
Yeah.
When he's done a session, you know, proper pint of water job. Max was like that. Putting the grind in, Terry. Sam Torrance. So he's called Torrance, but I call him Sam Torrance. We're coming back for you in Leeds. So get ready, Nick Manners. We're coming back for part 2. Right. Callum Johnson, Anthony Yard. All that kind of carry on 175. What do you make of the situation at the moment? Yard against, what's it called? Beat Beef. What do you think?
So you know I've always been high on Anthony Yard, right? We're at the point where we've got to look at him now and go, this guy ran towards Sergey Kovalev, ran towards him, wasn't forced to fight him, didn't go kicking and screaming, ran towards him, fought him in Russia, right? He's now saying he will fight Beterbiev anyway.
Yeah,
If he fights Beterbiev, he's going to have that kind of Clinton Woods 175 type run where you're like, oh my God, you're fighting guys who will go down in history.
You're going to fight like it's like one after the other.
Yeah, and you got to give Tunde credit because he said, listen, you guys are criticizing the quality of his opponents now, but I'm just trying to keep the miles low on Anthony Yarde so that when he does step up and fight the big names, he's still fresh.
I see where you're coming from, Terry, with that, but the flip side to that coin is Anthony Yarde's on his second mandatory in 3 years. Do you think that's fair?
Yes. Who else would you have had instead of him?
I don't know, but I don't think he's beat anybody really to suggest he gets another shot, has he?
Lyndon Arthur.
Lyndon Arthur's his best win, isn't it? Technically, isn't it? That's his best win. But the division is weak, though, isn't it? I'd like to see him in with. But then again, he's got the number one spot, and so why does he need to risk that? You might as well just take the opportunity and roll the dice. I mean, he's one fight away from being on just 2 fights away from. I mean, that's a bit crazy anyway when you look at what his team have done. Anthony Yarde's 2 fights away from being the undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, the holy grail in his sport.
Isn't that the definition of good management, right? Compare that with 258 and Joshua Buatsi.
Oh, it's shocking. He's got his own. He's only going 0-1. That's all he's got. Isn't it?
We're no closer to knowing how good Josh actually is.
Well, Yarde's tested himself. He comes unstuck against Kovalev, and he'll learn from that. But Lyndon Arthur fight could have gone either way. To be honest, did you?
The first one. Yeah, the first one. Yeah.
The first one. Yeah, the second one. He didn't. He wasn't leaving it to the judges, was he? I think he.
He set about him. Oh my God, he set about him.
Put hands on him, didn't he? As you say.
Yeah. He lit him up.
I think he had a lot of aggression in him for that fight. I think God knows what his camp like, but he looked like he'd have walked through anybody. He looked like he could have set about Andre Ward that night, mate. He did honestly look that good.
He probably could have.
He was on it, wasn't he? He was like Froch Boutte, wasn't he?
You know what? You're lucky. I like Carl Froch this week. After he red pilled those 2 kids in the video.
After he did what?
He red pilled those 2 kids. I've never seen. I was watching the Froch video. So basically, these kids are interviewing him, and Froch goes into the whole whether the Earth's flat and round and whether.
No, he's not on with that again, is he? Carl. No.
Not only that, though. Not only that, he hit them with every conspiracy going. He hits these kids with.
Well, I'm into conspiracies, you know. I think he got me in on them back. I can't fathom that flat Earth one out, but moon landing one. He was speaking to me about moon landings. This is a few years ago when he was still boxing and going about moon landings, and it got me looking at the moon landings, and I kept thinking that they were fake. So I don't know. He maybe might have a point on that. I don't know about the flat Earth one. I haven't gone over it as much as he has. But it was there's funny. A lot going on. There's a lot going off though in the world that they're not telling us about. So if you've got time on your hands and you're a retired boxer, what's going on YouTube right now? I'm looking at.
So Carl's in my good books today for red pilling those 2 kids.
You've still put his picture up. Why don't you put a good picture of him up, Terry, on your thing? I can see it's only a little here, but when videos uploaded, it swells up, doesn't it? Oh, it's the Groves one, isn't it?
Yeah, no, we'll get a fresh Froch one soon. Don't worry, Porky.
Carl, I'm going to bring him down next time he comes up here. I'm going to bring him down. I'm going to let you put hands on him.
Mate, I'll go to Alto on my own. I'll do a full tie and booth.
You'll do a full tie and booth, will you?
I'll be sat in Alto just eating my spaghetti bolognese with a nice Chianti.
You go to Nottingham much?
I wish I went more, to be honest with you.
It's a good night out, Nottingham, isn't it? I think.
I've never. Do you know, I went up to see my friend Trevor Rose, who runs the St. Anne's Community Centre. Oh. So I spent a lot of time in St. Anne's, spent some time in Radford when I was younger, but I've never really had a proper night out in Nottingham.
Yeah, well, I'll take you out one night. I'll tell you, I like going around Nottingham. It's a good night. Hey, listen, one thing about Nottingham, Terry. The women outnumber the men 4-1. You do know that, don't you, on a night out on the weekends?
I'm surprised you didn't move there. Oh, no, you did.
Google that. Google that. Nottingham on a night out outnumber the men 4-1. Years ago, when I was younger, we used to go over there when Rick Ashley was a man. Remember him, Rick Ashley?
Yeah.
But right, Daniel Dubois is a world champion, Terry, or do we count him as a world champion? I do. He's in the mix. Huey beats Hunter. That's getting rescheduled. It's Huey Dubois. What do you think to that?
That's interesting.
Interesting. Frank and Peter. Ooh, Rick Top and Peter going at it if Huey fights him.
Whew.
Dubois.
So here's the thing. We still need to know what Dubois is going to be like when the going gets tough. Like, just remember, Trevor Bryan was Shannon Briggs' sparring partner for ages. Like, that's who Trevor Bryan really is. That's why we don't know who he is, because he hasn't fought anyone. You know, he hasn't got any names on his record that we care about. And Dubois did what he was supposed to do. Walked through him.
He did, yeah.
Trevor Bryan played the role of sparring partner really well. But we still want to know what it's going to be like for Dubois when he doesn't get his own way.
Yeah. It's you bang on. What do you think's going to happen with O'Hara now? He's just got another win, hasn't he? He's proper in the mix, isn't he? O'Hara Davis.
He's been building slowly, hasn't he, in the background? Bit of a weird scenario that Probellum is still doing shows, but they can't be televised. So it's a bit of a mad one, isn't it? That all these fights are going to happen and we're not going to get to see them unless we buy a ticket. Although that might be clever promotion in its own right.
Yeah.
But you know me, I like O'Hara. I think O'Hara's a good kid. I think he has an unfair reputation because, remember, you don't hear a word about O'Hara Davis outside the ring. Not a word.
Not now, you don't, do you? But when he
No. Like in general.
Yeah.
He's never been one for nightclubs. I don't even think O'Hara drinks. He doesn't do, like, he's just a nice kid.
I've met him. I've heard he's a pretty dedicated gym rat, to be honest, from what I've heard.
Yeah, we've never seen him out of shape.
Yeah. He's got long arms as well, hasn't
he? Yeah.
Well, I think
I always look at him and go, could you do welterweight at some point?
Could you imagine him at lightweight? He'd be a monster, wouldn't he, if he could do lightweight? Another £5 off him. He'd be a monster.
Yeah. Ooh.
Can you imagine O'Hara Davis? He would put hands on people. O'Hara Davis against Ryan Garcia for all the marbles.
I'd watch that.
Or all the Reggies.
I'd watch that. That's one of those for the hardcore.
Yeah. What do you reckon is going to happen to Robert McCracken now, Terry? He's training a couple of medalists, isn't he? And he's just lost a medalist. He seems to land on his feet, doesn't he? What do you think will happen to him now without Joshua? Do you think he's going to stay up at EIS and just go about his business quietly?
Mate, he's well paid at EIS. Really well paid. As you know, I went through the recruitment system for one of the roles at England Boxing.
Yeah.
And like, they're talking compensation. It's well paid. McCracken's all right there. He's got his Joshua money already. He doesn't have to spend that. Like, I mean, that salary he's got, man, that will cover his running costs. He's training Lauren Price, who I think is a special talent. He's got Karis Artingstall as well, who I also think is a special talent. What more? There's one more slot that they can allocate to an amateur who wants to go pro. I don't know who they're going to choose yet, but there's one more spot that they can have. I think it makes a mockery of the system, but it also tells you how bad the standard of amateur boxing is in this country right now.
Oh, shocking, isn't it? It's shocking, isn't it? Lauren Price is a standout one from what I've heard. She's also got a win over somebody who beat Savannah in amateurs. So she's a good fighter, Lauren Price.
Mate, think about this. I was hearing she was weighing in under the 75 kilo limit for the Olympics. I don't think she's naturally a middleweight. So in the amateurs, she was fighting at 75, but really she's probably a 69er.
Yeah, that's what I am.
Go on, Porky, go on. Oh my God.
I've got it on, I change it to kilos, because you're always talking kilos, don't you? I don't like to talk kilos because it's a trigger.
Well, not anymore anyway, yeah.
I'm fucking thinking about convertibles. Right. The cruiserweight division, do you think it's going stale? Do you think Coley can save it? Because I said the other day, I think he's the best out there, and somebody said about me in comments, but I just think he can beat everybody. I'm not saying he's the most exciting. It's like I didn't think Andre Ward was most exciting, but he could beat everybody, couldn't he? Some people have styles that are hard to figure out. And I think that, is an hard style. What do you think?
You have to stand in front of Lawrence to realize how big he is. Like, you literally need to just stand in front of him and see that he's a legitimate 6'6".
Yeah.
And he's probably as wide as Wilder, if not a little bit wider. He's a big human being. And so when he puts his lead hand all the way out, you're like, that's a long way to go to get to him. Yeah. He's hard to beat. So by the time you've tried everything in your arsenal to get to him and it's all failed, your morale's gone anyway. And then at that point there, he just picks you off and he'll hurt you. And like you said, you don't have to like his style.
Fury, his arms are massive. I've seen people come away from there and they're like, oh, I thought I could have got closer to him, but he just kept touching me. He wasn't whacking him with mega hard shots, but after 3 or 4 rounds, you could see the damage on them. Could see that we get, and obviously Tyson, you don't get hit, does he? Joe Joyce couldn't hit him when he was 28 stone. Couldn't hit him, mate. Or like, he just stood in the middle of the ring, fat as a pig, and was just doing all that. You know what I mean? Some people have just got it, haven't they? Got winning mentality. I think Lawrence Okole's got that winning mentality. He's a winner. His style's horrible. I wouldn't open curtains to watch him. I was, that Matty Askin fight did me in. And I think Fury's style's a bit more exciting now. We didn't use him, but the winners, aren't they? The winners. Yeah,
he'll always find a way to win. But we're dragging out the Okole Riakporhe fight. There are a lot of fights that we're just dragging out. And we're like, just get on with it.
Yeah.
Just get everyone at cruiserweight. They should all just be fighting each other to make that money. I saw couple of weekends ago, I saw Big Jordan Thompson.
Yeah.
Huge.
Is he that big?
Get him in the mix. Jordan's got to be, he's another 6'6" guy.
Yeah. He's a big lump, isn't he? Is it George Fox is his name or something?
Yeah. He was there. He was there that same Saturday as well. Was he? He's 6'8" comfortably.
He's a lump, isn't
he? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to just click onto that other one? Right, lad.
I'm going to leave this one, Pork, and then jump on the other one.
You want to, yeah.